Good morning YouTube, Merchant Ricky here, and today we're talking about One Piece chapter 1095. Again, I say this nearly every One Piece chapter I cover or just One Piece concept video I cover. This has been the year of 10 out of 10 chapters with Oda. Every single time he has released a chapter in the Egghead Island arc, it has been a 100% success, amazing chapter. Things were either built upon or things were either paid off, and it's literally like that for every single chapter. Let's just get into it. It seems that the Straw Hats, Jewelry Bonnie, and the world government are now fully entangled, embroiled in the situation at Egghead. The blockade of the marine ships is not going anywhere, and with the new standing order given by Saint J. Garcia Saturn, it looks like the Mark III pacifistas have probably already defeated the Sea Beasts. Therefore, there is not really much of an opposition at Egghead Island any longer. Now we have all those blockaded battleships. We have the 10 vice admirals that are there. We have enough firepower on Kizaru alone, if Luffy wasn't there, to wipe out the whole island. And on top of that, we have Saint J. Garcia Saturn, who is genuinely one of the most menacing characters introduced to date. And he has now fully gripped up Bonnie and lifted her into the air to have her be killed by firing squad. At this moment, we are introduced to the backstory of Kuma, and because of that, things are now getting quite hairy, because as we left Kuma last time, he left the Revolutionary Army's home base of Kamabaka Queendom. Since then, he teleported using his Pawpaw Fruit power and hit the Red Line. After scaling the Red Line and getting in a brief fight with the forces on Mary Joie, he then got led into a one-on-one confrontation with Fleet Admiral Sakazuki. Sakazuki beat the shit out of him, melted half of his head, or a third of his head, however much, and seemingly one of his legs, before Kuma just shot off with his Pawpaw Fruit again. This has led many people to speculate that the Red Line interferes with the flight of Kuma's fruit using his repel powers, and the Red Line's too tall for Kuma's maximum height to get over, which is why he sent the Straw Hats where he sent them during the time skip. But Kuma has now become the most integral character in One Piece, and not saying that this guy over here is less important than that guy over there, but simply pointing out that Kuma has now been basically shown to have his hand in everything. Every major event or every very important system that was ever brought up in One Piece, Kuma has been a part of. We are getting the flashback of God's Valley, right? And in the flashback of God's Valley, we are getting to know that Kuma was a child on the day this event happened. And we don't know if this is the exact day the event happened, but the timelines do meet up. So we are all expecting to see Rocks. We are expecting to see Child Shanks. We're expecting to see Roger and Garp show up here at some point. Now we are giving context as to what is happening on God's Valley. And essentially the Celestial Dragons have a tournament every 3 years to just go and kill a bunch of natives on their home island, which is incredibly messed up. And once again, Oda has given us another reason to truly hate the Celestial Dragons. I mean, every single time we learn something about them, it is nothing good. But let's go forward. Kuma is a buccaneer, which is a race of humans and giants interbred, mixed together, and making a, basically like a mid-sized giant is what they have going on with them. And evidently, in the eyes of the world government, they committed a grave crime 800 years ago, or however long ago that crime was. Kuma and his father are the last two members of this race. In Kuma's backstory, Kuma's father gets shot in the head for dancing like Sun God Nika. And I'm giving a quick summary of events here because the chapter was just too massive. So much stuff happened and it was such a good chapter. Again, since Egghead Island started about a year ago, it's been 10 out of 10 chapters the whole time. So with his father dead, Kuma is now destitute and ends up on God Valley because of the tournament I just brought up. Kuma was part of it because they are also now eradicating problematic slaves. Kuma escaped, and Saint J. Garcia Saturn, 40 years ago, looking not a day older than he does now, was basically informed, hey, Kuma's there. And they don't really make too much of that, but you can tell that that's going to be an important plot point. Like, they want Kuma, they need him. They would like his strength. They don't want any more Buccaneers getting out. They don't want him to have any more kids. Something is going on with the world government in eradicating whole tribes, entire races of people. Who knows how long they've been doing this for, but, you know, if they've been doing it every 3 years for 38 years, a pretty good amount of islands, at least 10, 12 islands, have been erased in just the 38 years of, like, the difference between God Valley and now. And let's say they were doing it 38 years before that and 38 years before that. Like, they could have been doing this for 100 years. They could have been doing this for 200 years, 300, 400. An innumerable amount of people have been killed due to a simplistic death game that the world nobles have to play. The celestial dragons are truly trash, honestly. It's crazy how Oda can craft such good villains that make you either love them or truly hate them. And the celestial dragons fall so close to the truly hate side that they basically are my definition of things I hate. Every time we get introduced to things they do, it just pisses me off. But let's go back to Kuma. Kuma has disappeared on Mary Joie. Sakazuki got very pissed off at this, even was like, you're a zombie with no autonomy. You have no personal anything anymore. Where could you be going? So we know that Kuma actually does have autonomy. Due to the end of the time skip, someone was protecting the Straw Hats Thousand Sunny the whole time. And at first it was Duval and his flying fish raider pirates. They got beat pretty quick and Kuma came and took over. This was instilled in him by Dr. Vegapunk to go and do that, right? Frankie was the first person to see him and even tells us, we are indebted to this man Kuma. Kuma's last choices in life almost exclusively involve the Straw Hats. That's what we've been thinking until now, because here we have Jewelry Bonnie in deep trouble. And basically, since the order on Egghead was to kill everyone there, it seems that Kuma has been acting to either go save Dr. Vegapunk or save Jewelry Bonnie. And Bonnie was in danger at Egghead since the beginning. She's been chased down numerous times now. And maybe if the Cypher Pole hadn't said anything about it, or maybe if Pacifista hadn't attacked Jewelry Bonnie already, this wouldn't be a problem. But maybe main Pacifista Kuma, the real Kuma's body, has some sort of knowledge of when Bonnie is in danger, or a failsafe for when Vegapunk is in danger. But either way, he has to be headed to Egghead, right? Like, he's going to appear right in front of Garcia's hand and get shot up by those Marines that are pointing the bullets at Bonnie. No one else can save her right now, because J. Garcia Saturn has multiple powers of, like, Jedi Sith Lords. Well, I guess Jedi and Sith don't... Sith Lord. He has, like, force energy that he's just holding down the Straw Hats with. He literally used, like, mind powers to, like, break Sanji's head and cause him to bleed and go flying backwards. And he did the same thing to Bonnie, too. St. J. Garcia Saturn is the first integral step into understanding the Void Sentry, because he has to have been a part of it at this point. And if not, he is still very old, at least a couple hundred years old, and he has to know what happened back then. So my guess is the former. I genuinely think he is 800 years old with Emu and the rest of the Gorosei. They've been at this for a while. If they were pirates back then, we wouldn't know any better now, right? But we do know that he has some experience with pirates, because when Frankie has his amazing moment in this chapter where he saves Luffy via punching and dragging him back and having this Chad moment of being like, whoa, one of the world's top officials wants my captain? What a guy. Frankie, I got a tattoo for Frankie. I love Frankie. But anyways, Kuma and St. J. Garcia Saturn. Clearly Bonnie was in the room when he ordered Kuma to be killed, and clearly Vegapunk carried this, guilt with him for a long time. Who knows when he started researching the Void Sentry? Because it had to have been recently, otherwise the world government would have made moves to kill him much sooner, right? So, with Kuma and Vegapunk now being in this triangle with the world government of wants and needs, where Vegapunk supplies what they want and need via the Pacifista, the Seraphim, Devil Fruit Research, weaponry like the Lulusia Blast laser thing, the Mother Flame, and all that. Now they have decided that they no longer want or need Vegapunk. And maybe they don't even want or need Kuma either. And what they did to Kuma is nothing short of evil. But Vegapunk was there to do it. So, part of this situation is on him, right? Vegapunk is going to have a moment where, much like Kuma crying when he found out that his mother died and he finally broke down in that brutal panel, Vegapunk, we're going to see him have some sort of regret very soon. I genuinely think so. And maybe it will be when Kuma pops into existence and sacrifices himself for the Straw Hats and Bonnie so that Vegapunk, Bonnie, and the Straw Hats can escape. Now we got to talk about Luffy versus Kizaru, because this is very important. Luffy landed a hit on Kizaru hard enough to knock him down and keep him down. And Saturn says something like, hey, given the circumstances, I'm not as mad at you as I should be right now. And, that should be taken with no grains of salt, whatever. That should be taken very literally. He is either not downplaying Luffy whatsoever, knowing that whoever holds the Sun God Nika fruit is a very dangerous individual, especially someone who's already proven to be dangerous, like Luffy. And dangerous meaning he is someone that the world government cannot contain. He is an absolute threat in every sense of the word, because Luffy has this unique ability. See, he has the power to not give a fuck, and he has the ability to explain with his fists how much fucks he doesn't give, at the same time explaining to you the concept of fucking around and finding out. And that is exactly where Luffy excels. And as long as he gets some moments to recuperate, he will sacrifice himself and go back into the Nika form. And he will put hands on Jay Garcia Saturn. Mark my words. One more character that we need to discuss really quick is the robot from the ancient history that is awake. That's not good for the world government, because it's already been shown to want to attack Mary Joie. Hear me out. There is a huge chance that that thing will come up and duke it out with Saturn and help Luffy win. Now, I don't predict Saturn dying in this arc. A lot of people are calling for it, and I totally see that the writing is on the wall, especially when we have one more facet to discuss, which is Caribou, and an outlier that has not made it to the island yet, but we know will, which is the Blackbeard Pirates, and we do not know who is on that ship. So for now, we are going to exclude the Blackbeard Pirates, because in typical fashion, they will show up at the last second. So we cannot predict what they're going to do, because Oda is a master at writing, and he's not going to let us guess something so intense as to what those guys are up to. Remember, we all thought God Valley was way different than this. We didn't expect Kuma to be a child here, let alone meet Ivankov and a new character named Ginny. Wild speculation. Is it Luffy's mother? Is it Bonnie's mother? Just care about her until we get to know her, because clearly she has to be on the side of Bonnie, in my opinion. Also, remember that women do not survive flashbacks like ever. And most people introduced via the flashback of Oda, they're going to die in it. So, look at Kuma's father. That man made it like 6 panels. And that was brutal as hell. That actually shook me. I waited longer than I should have to post this video, because the chapter was so massive that I've literally been rereading it for the past 3 days, just trying to get a solid grip on everything we need to understand. So many people have already talked about the possibilities of who will arrive right now on God Valley. We already have Kuma, we already have Ivankov, we already have Goroseis, we already have Garling. That's already 4-5 major players, right? Dragon could show up here. This could be the reason why he is a freedom fighter. Roger, Garp, all of the Rocks pirates. That's a big roster of really dangerous people. To now, what did Rocks show up there for? Is he actually a good guy doing things too intensely? If his intentions are good, but he is, trying to genocide all of the celestial dragons, that's going to become a little bit dicey, because I'm not sure why Roger would stop that. But at the same time, it is definitely not okay to just kill for the sake of killing. However, I'm not gonna lie, the celestial dragons kind of deserve such a harsh punishment, and they keep skirting away, and they can't do it for much longer. They've had 800 years of this. It's now the time for the dawn to shine on the world, for Luffy to liberate them, and it starts with Kuma popping in, saving the day, sacrificing himself in what will most likely go down as a death that hits harder than Izo, Ashura, Pedro, and everyone else who sacrificed themselves along the way for the Straw Hats to get to Wano. Because just getting to Wano, we've lost 3 or 4 good dudes, you know? And it gets worse from here. I don't expect the upcoming deaths. I mean, Mjolsgard has just passed away, right? He got executed for saving Shirahoshi. That is not, like, it hits harder when you think about it that way, right? And not only that, T-Bone has been murdered because the Cross Guild put a bounty on him. And in those span of time from then to now, 2 Vegapunk satellites have been killed. And like I said, things are going to get worse from here. So buckle in. I'm really excited for this break week to get some more content out, but also because it will be so much more worth it when Oda releases that next chapter and we keep going in the flashback, or we're just jetted back into present day with mixes intermingling of the flashback. Either way, I'm really excited to see what he's cooking up. Luffy has actually taken down an admiral for the time being, but he is also down too, so it is still kind of like a draw at this point, although Luffy landed a real hit, whereas I don't think Kizaru has landed any hits on Luffy. I could be wrong. Might eat my words there, but I reread the fight. It doesn't really seem like Kizaru had actual strong hits on Luffy, minus like the laser that Luffy ate intentionally. So, power scalers, where you at? Anyways, I've been Merch Hunter Ricky. 1095 was a phenomenal chapter. Let me know what you think down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support you all give me. And I'm almost to 500, so let's eke it out if you guys don't mind. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, thank you and have a great day.